Hello and welcome back to Rain Check. We'll be continuing where we left off, which, if you recall, is after this little dork here got mugged. Well, was about to get mugged, I guess. And he managed to kick off his assailant, who looked like they were on something. And they wanted room to continue to be on something, I'm assuming. But yeah. So, when I previously read it, to me, the story felt a little rough, the pacing was a little off too, and apparently some of that stuff has been fixed, from what I read, meaning what you guys saw in the other videos. Not really sure what changed, because I don't really want to go rereading it. I guess I'll do that later in my own time. Perhaps I will put up a text box here. I don't know if it's there. Is it there? I don't know. But yeah. So I did skim, not really read what comes next. So I decided, and it looked okay, so I decided to read it. We get a little bit more context as to why this is a mystery visual novel. So yeah. So I guess with that in mind, also, I don't think it's that long compared to the other one, so it should maybe only be like a long video? Maybe? I don't know. We'll see. But yeah, so without further ado, let us continue Rain Check. I am giving you a second chance. Do not disappoint. Oh god. Are they okay? I approach the cat cautiously, unsure if he'll spring back and pounce on me. I take a couple of steps forward, but my progress halts as soon as I notice the extent of the chaos that I created. Did I really do this? Hey! What the hell is going on here? Out of nowhere, a loud roar emanates from behind me, causing me to startle and almost jump. As I turn around, I see the security guard marching towards me with surprising speed, considering his build. There is also someone trailing right behind him, albeit at a much slower pace. Is that Rao? Oh god, this is awkward. Why do I keep running into him? You there! Stay where you are. His voice is firm and commanding. Why do I have a bad feeling about this? The security guard pointed at me as he fiddles with the radio on his shoulder with his other paw. I am at the lounge. There are two people. One looks like he's out cold. Do you need any assistance? The security guard fixates his attention on the still motionless cat. This is a code 30. Call the paramedics. I'll let you know in a moment. Copy that. After briefly alternating his gaze between the cat and me, the polar bear's focus settles on me. Right, so what the hell happened here? Honestly, I wish I knew. Everything happened so fast. There's so much that I want to say, but I'm having trouble figuring out my words. Well, you see... I steal a glance at Rao, still off in the distance. He notices me and makes his way over. With surprising ease, Rao walks past the security guard who remains unaware of his presence. There's, Hoping to get an explanation from Rao, I make eye contact with him, but he immediately looks away, refusing to meet my questioning stare. Instead, he shifts his focus on the tattered cat behind me. Rao waves me over, completely disregarding Christopher's presence. Yes? I'm waiting. For the time being, I should probably disregard whatever Rao is attempting to show me. I look back at the polar bear who is still waiting for an answer. Although I am almost certain that the security guard has seen Rao, he doesn't appear to be reacting at him. Unexpectedly, Rao appears from beside me, whispering something so faint that only he and I can hear it. He attacked you. Didn't he? My eyes widen from disbelief. How the hell did he figure that out? I haven't even said anything yet. All I can do is stare. Yeah, he did. But how did you know? I whisper back as quietly as possible, trying to match the same level of subtlety as Rao. Rao doesn't acknowledge my question. Instead, his attention is drawn back to the cat, as if he's looking for something. I stare as well and see small twitches of movement coming from the cat's tail. Oh, thank God he's alive. A huge wave of relief passes through me, but there is still a tight knot in my stomach as I stare at the mangled-looking cat. I thought so. Well, good news is that he is not dead. Doesn't look like he'll be getting back up anytime soon, though. Probably for the better. Can someone care to explain what's going on? I jump from the loud roar that the polar bear bellows out. Raoul scowls at Christopher, then stares back at me, his demeanor looking more annoyed than startled. I turn back to the security guard. He clearly looks pissed. Right, sorry, I got distracted. As the security guard puts up a closed sign in front of the lounge where we had been standing earlier, we relocate to the bar seats at the far side. I've never been great at handling confrontations, and this is no exception. Here's the deal. Emergency medical services have been called. They'll be on their way shortly. In the meantime, why don't you explain what happened? Well... I spend the next few minutes explaining the whole story. How I was minding my own business here until I was approached by that man. How he asked me for money and how he suddenly lunged at me with full force, trying to attack me. I also recount that I had lost balance and fell when the cat grabbed my tail. I finish my recount and look at them for affirmation, but neither of them looks particularly surprised. It's like they already expected this. Christopher's the first to break the silence. Do you know who this person is? No, right? No, not at all. I've never seen them before in my life. Okay. Christopher reaches for his radio and speaks into it, keeping his eyes on the cat the whole time. Are the EMS here yet? They'll be here in 5 minutes. Good. How about the police? Christopher side-eyes me at the mention of the police. We got a gentleman here that'll most likely need to be sent for questioning. They are on standby. I'll call them now, though. Immediately, I notice Raoul's expression change to a somewhat worried state, an expression that I haven't seen until now. The polar bear then fixes his gaze on me. Sir, can I get your name? Theodore. The security guard nods. The paramedics will be arriving shortly if you are injured. We can have you tag along. If not, then you'll be sent to the police station for questioning first. I doubt that you'll be in any trouble, though. Now, following standard protocol, I have to ask, are you injured? The thought of being carried away in an ambulance or police car doesn't seem like the highlight that I'd want for my vacation. It doesn't look like they have much of a choice. Now that he mentions it, the scratches I got earlier on my tail are starting to sting. I can't help but wince in pain. Well, he's fine. Both the security guard and I look at Raoul at the same time. I'm about to object when Raoul glances over at me for a brief moment. Is he up to something? What is he trying to do? The polar bear turns back to face me slowly and motions to Raoul. And who the hell is this man, anyways? He showed up moments after I got here. You know him or something? Well... Raoul stares at me and starts mouthing something to me, all the while he motions his paw to me, just out of view for Christopher to notice. My brows furrow as I struggle to understand what he's trying to say. What? There is a slight panic in the wolf's face as the security guard notices my dazed expression and turns to face him. Raoul steps forward and places the large paw firmly on my shoulder. You've been through a lot. Let me handle this. He gives a small pat before turning to face Christopher. The hell's going on? The wolf steps in front of me, acting as a divide between the security guard and me. He won't be going anywhere. Just who are you, huh? I'm his friend. We're friends now. Listen, under normal protocol, we need both parties involved handed off to the police for questioning. Ambulance too if he is injured. Understood. Shouldn't you be more concerned about our little addict friend over there? Don't you see the scars on his paws? How about the bandages on his tail? We all turn to check out the cat, with the scars and bandages present like Raoul had mentioned. Actually, I'm pretty sure that I saw those earlier as well. Clearly a skeleton user. Skeleton? I don't think that I've heard of the drug before. Wouldn't be good for business if people found out addicts were roaming about the hotel, attacking patrons. Just like the last 2 times. What does he mean, the last 2 times? You understand what I'm saying, right, Christopher? Raoul's voice is slow and methodical. Is he threatening the security guard somehow? What are you getting at? And how the hell would you know that? The security guard raises his voice, sounding more accusatory towards Raoul. Does it matter? You know what does matter? Raoul looks at me before continuing. That several people were hospitalized because of what happened. Wait, what, really? I didn't hear anything about this. Of course not. The hotel did everything it could to cover up the incidents. Not well enough, sadly. I'm sure Christopher knows all about it. So there's been a huge cover-up all this time? This seems bigger than I thought. Maybe it'd be best if I stay out of this as much as possible. Wait, what does he know? Raoul completely disregards my question and motions a gesture towards me. You'll want to dodge the station anyways. It'll be a miracle if you get through questioning in less than a few hours. Probably take until tomorrow with a scandal like this. He shrugs at me with a toothy grin. Here's how I see it. You go, it'll get covered up. You wasted your time. I guess you're right. Raoul gives me a wistful smirk as he glances back to the polar bear. He's not going. That's final. Raoul's commanding tone resonates through the air, leaving the security guard feeling shaken and unsure of how to proceed. There is a look of anger and contempt coming from the polar bear's face. Ultimately, he lets out a sigh and a frown. He pulls up a bar stool and sits down, avoiding eye contact from us as he speaks into the radio. Let the police know it was a false alarm. Paramedics are good enough. His voice sounds defeated and with a hint of bitterness in it. Okay, the paramedics have just arrived. They'll be up shortly. None of us move. None of us say anything. Just go. The wolf that was just towering in front of me suddenly turns around and gives me a nod. Let's go. He does a faint beckoning motion with his paw but starts walking in the opposite direction of the exit. I don't know where he's going, but I'll need to follow him if I want any answers. I virtually have to run after Raoul at this point. I forgot just how fast he can walk. As I try to chase him down, I try to think, but my mind is completely blank. What the hell just happened? Raoul walks to an isolated part of the casino where the only things in sight are rows of unoccupied slot machines. His tall stature is striking compared to the surroundings as he scouts around the area. Before you say anything, we need to get your tail treated. Follow me, and I'll explain everything. I promise. What? Can't you do it here? Isn't that why we walked here? And wait a second, how do you know about my tail? And furthermore, how do you know that I was attacked earlier? Hold on, slow down. I'm looking for the open bar. What? This isn't the time to be drinking? Raoul turns to me, his sudden serious gaze silences me. Raoul shifts his eyes away from me and carries on surveying the area. I exhale, a sigh, feeling disheartened. I guess I'm left with no alternative. I'll have to cooperate for now if I want to find out what the hell is happening. Over there, let's go. I directed my sight towards the direction of his interest, and I see an open bar similar to the lounge area. Wait. And just like that, he disappears from my sight. I approach the open bar and spot Raoul standing in front of a multiple drink dispensers on the counter. There's several drink names that I don't recognize. The wolf operates the tap and fills a plastic cup halfway with transparent amber liquid. How can someone be in the mood to drink at a time like this? Without hesitation, he snatches up a bunch of napkins from a nearby pile. He swiftly turns around and hands me the drink, surprising me. Hold this. Huh? I don't drink. Raoul sets the cup back down on the counter when I fail to take the cup. It's only when he starts to dip the napkin into the cup that I realize what he's trying to do. Turn around. I do as I am instructed, preparing myself for the pain. He kneels down and brushes aside my fur on my tail, causing me to grimace from the sudden pain. I just realized how embarrassing this is. It's a good thing that he can't see how flushed my face is right now. Rao applies the alcohol-soaked napkin on the scratches on my tail, gently holding it in place with his big, sturdy paws. Ah! I wince from the sudden sting, my tail recoiling from the sharp pain, but he easily holds it in place. How does it look? Just surface-level scratches. Lucky you. The wolf places several folded napkins over my scratches, wrapping them carefully and securing them with a firm knot. All right, there. As Rao stands back up, I pivot back to face him, while quickly checking on my tail. The makeshift bandage looks surprisingly sturdy. You wanted answers, right? Yes. What the hell's going on? Not here. Then where? My room, North Block. Something's off. Why does he want me to come to his room? There's an awkward pause as I try to think of what to say. Why your room? What do you mean? It's getting too weird. Maybe I should back out now. But how do I do it without being too obvious? My eyes dart to the exit and then back to Rao, unsure of what to do. After a long, awkward pause, Rao speaks up slowly. Sorry. I know that we had pretty lighthearted interactions so far. I guess Rao caught on to what I was thinking. To be fair, I've been told that I have a pretty terrible poker face. So, if you're uncomfortable coming to my room... The wolf looks around and spots something off in the distance that catches his attention. I can explain it to you in the bathroom. His tone is a lot more gentler than it was a minute ago. Why does his behavior change all of a sudden? A place with privacy. Why does he need privacy? I'm still unsure why he can't tell me here. There's virtually no one around the bar here. Well, okay then. Either one sounds sketchy. I can't shake the sense that there's something fishy happening here. At the very least, the bathroom is more of an exposed location when compared to his private room. Sure, the bathroom is fine. Okay. As we walk towards the bathroom, I keep up with Rao's brisk stride, determined to keep pace. Before us stands a few set of bathroom doors, and he wastes no time in knocking on the accessible one. There's no response, and Rao takes that as a signal to turn the handle. In here. He walks in and gestures for me to enter as well, holding the door open. I hesitate briefly at the sight of a small accessible bathroom, but then quickly enter while checking for any observers. Stepping in, I am surprised by its spaciousness. Rao startles me by reaching a paw behind me and locking the door once I'm inside. I need to relax. One sec. He takes off his jacket, leaving me bewildered and not sure what I'd just gotten myself into. Holding out the jacket, he hangs it on the door hook. With another paw, he turns on the sink, its running water masking most of the muffled noises from outside. The wolf pulls out his phone and attaches a small camera accessory, aiming it at his jacket. As I raise an eyebrow, he searches the room intently with his phone. Is something supposed to happen? I'm looking for hidden cameras. His gaze is fixed to a small bright glint directly beneath the sink. Like this. He paws the pea-sized camera off and crushes it between his digits with ease. They won't be needing that. Why is there a camera in here? That's what I'd like to know as well. Curiously, I also looked around the room, seeing if I can spot any more. And that should be it. It looks like this was the only one. What did you just do? What do you mean? I said that I was looking for hidden cameras. I mean with the jacket. Oh, that? It's a derivative of anti-paparazzi clothing. It reflects back certain wavelengths, especially flashes. I use this attachment to shift the IR wavelength from my phone and amplify it off my jacket. This makes various objects shiny, making it easier for me to detect and remove them. I point at the destroyed fragments in his paw. But aren't you concerned that you might be destroying a camera owned by the hotel? He looks at me as if I've just insulted him. No. Last time that I checked, cameras shouldn't be in bathrooms. That makes sense. I drop my questionings as Raoul puts away his phone, but a new question arises in my mind. Wait, then who put that camera there? Judging by the cheap build and small size, I'm almost certain that it's the police. He lowers his voice to a barely audible whisper, making it difficult for me to hear. Huh? Police? Aren't you worried that the police might come after you for destroying their cameras? No, these are inexpensive and are meant to be disposable. Besides, they aren't your friends, they're more corrupt than usual. There have been a few well-known incidents that support this theory. Really? Like what? Well, if you're asking, then you're probably never heard of the most famous one. The Castleton incident, right? No, never. Last year, Castleton's wife disappeared. He also happens to be the mayor. There was a lot of suspicion when he showed no concern to the reporters. Interestingly, the police had numerous leads, but didn't pursue any of them. Around the same time, Castleton made a substantial donation to the police department. At least that is what most people know before a gag order was imposed by the police. So what happened to Castleton's wife? Was she really murdered? It's hard to say for certain. There are speculations that he might have orchestrated her murder to gain control of her will and property. The case went cold and Castleton's wife is still missing. By the way, Castleton remarried just 5 months later. Oh my god. This isn't the only instance of the police engaging in questionable activities, but it's the most notorious one. So why did you cover for me earlier if you knew the police weren't going to do anything? You're right, they probably wouldn't even have cared about you. But they would have found out about me through their interrogations with you. I can't risk having my cover blown. I see. But now that I know, aren't you worried that I'll tell others? No, it did cross my mind, but it's hard to get the police's attention here unless you brought in specifically. In other words, it's easy for the police to get a hold of you, but it's not true the other way around. These addicts are everywhere. They probably get dozens of calls from them every day. His logic makes sense, but I'm having a hard time figuring out his intent. How does this relate to him? Damn. How are things so backwards here? It's not like it's lawless here. The police seem more focused on protecting those in power, for the most part. I guess so. I decide to voice a nagging thought that has been bothering me for a while. You're not some kind of spy, are you? He grins and tries his best to hold back a chuckle. Funny. It's been a while since I've heard that one. No, I'm not a spy. Just a private investigator. He pulls out a small black business card from his pocket and hands it over to me. I work for ARC. ARC? I don't think I recognize the name. I study the business card, reading the bold silver letters that occupy most of its space, stating analytical research and confidentiality. Okay, fair enough. But what about the cat? What the hell was that? And how did you know they attacked me? It's pretty obvious, wouldn't you agree? I shake my head in disagreement. Not really. I've seen how you act. You're not the type of guy to suddenly attack people, let alone drug addicts. He's not wrong, but his response catches me off guard. The wolf falls silent and gazes at me. Actually, I saw him wandering around the place earlier. He caught my attention and I was keeping a watch on him until you bumped into me. So you didn't know that I was attacked? Besides the fact that he was probably high on drugs, no, but I had a gut feeling. Right. But you mentioned skeleton earlier? What kind of drug is that? I've never heard of it before. I've never heard about it until this year either. It's extremely addictive and self-destructive. Supposed to be 10 times more addictive than heroin. I don't know much besides what symptoms the users usually experience. Internal bleeding, hallucinations, aggression, skeletal degradation, and the occasional organ failure. The wolf chuckles and smirks at me. I return a weak laugh, regretting asking about skeleton. Sounds like fun. That cat had some deep scratches on their paws and tail. That's how people taking skeleton inject the drug, so they can target the bones more directly. The mere thought sent a chill down my spine. What a sad way to live. Is that why it's called skeleton? Probably. So that's how you knew? Are you investigating the skeleton stuff? No, what I'm looking into happened years ago. He doesn't elaborate and instead checks his phone. Rao reaches for his jacket and puts it back on. I need to get going. Listen, I know today's been a mess for you. Why don't you go back to your room and take it easy for the rest of your time here? Avoid going out. I feel like things are only going to get more wild from here on out. But I don't want to spend my entire trip locked up inside. That's fine. Do what you want. Just don't say that I didn't warn you. The wolf stops and looks at me, seemingly like he just remembered something. Although, if you do see anything weird, let me know. The number listed goes to my phone. He motions to the business card that I'm still holding on to. Oh, okay. I'll be on my way now. Stay safe. He shuts off the water and walks past me to the exit. Just as he's about to leave, a knock at the door interrupts our interaction. He seemingly ignores it and unlocks it, swinging the door fully inward and stepping out. Oh God, it's Christopher. Things just got a whole lot more uncomfortable. They exchange glances as Rao walks past the polar bear. Just as the door is about to close, Christopher catches sight of me and gives me a surprised but judgmental stare before the door shuts. I take that as my cue to book it as fast as possible. I head back to my room, feeling utterly spent. Today's been one hell of a day so far. I flop onto the bed and examine the makeshift bandage on my tail. It stings when I try to curl it. Might be best to just leave it alone. I inch closer to the charging cable and plug my phone in. With my heavy head resting on the bed, I wait for my phone to boot up. The idea of taking a nap comes to mind, but suddenly my phone vibrates. That's probably the boot up. I close my eyes again, this time prepared to take a nice long nap until my phone vibrates again. And again. Thinking I might have missed some notifications since earlier, I sluggishly reposition myself to get a better look at my phone. 2 new messages from... That's strange. The notification preview doesn't display any phone number. Unlocking my phone, I tap on the most recent message. There's a string of words that I don't immediately understand the meaning of. Good job. You will pick up your reward tomorrow night by yourself, or else. 10-300 Iridescent Drive. What am I reading? Is this one of those scam texts? Confused and unsettled, I decide to view the next text. The following message contains only a small image attachment, which I hesitate to download but ultimately decide to view. As the image appears on my screen, my drowsiness dissipates instantly. I zoom into the image as much as I can. Oh God, that's me on the floor with the cat from earlier on top. Who could have taken this photo? I didn't see anyone around at the time, certainly not from this angle. A sharp sense of dread pangs out within me. The realization hits, whoever took that photo knows what I look like. They know my number and still might be watching me right now. Clutching my phone tightly in my paws, I quickly jump out of my bed and slowly back away from the large windows, seeking refuge in the bathroom. Fear grips me and the sense of being stalked becomes all too real. I slam the door shut and lock it. I study the photo again, and my entire body shakes as I take in what I am seeing. What the fuck? I'm not sure if these 2 messages were sent by the same person, but they seem to be related. Returning to the first text, I try my best to read it again, despite my current state of mind. Good job. You will pick up your reward tomorrow night? Are they referring to the attack in the casino? My heart pounds in my chest, my body trembling with fear. My mind screams at me, warning of the imminent danger that I might be in. I shut my eyes and list out all my possible options. Ignore it? But what would happen if I didn't listen? Call the police, but Rao mentioned that they are virtually useless. Wait, that's right. I can call Rao. Hopefully he'll know what to do. With the business card Rao had given me earlier, I dial the number on the back with my barely charged phone. After a few rings, someone picks up the line. Hi. Javier speaking. I'm greeted by an unfamiliar voice. Their accent sounds faintly Hispanic. Did I call the wrong number? Hi. Is, Rao there? How did you get this number? Well, Just a moment. I wait for a response, but there's only silence. After a long pause, I contemplate ending the call when Javier finally speaks again. Hi, Theodore. Rao's occupied at the moment. How can I help you? Okay. My voice quivers with a palpable shakiness that I struggle to control. I do my utmost to convey the gravity of the situation to Javier, describing how I'm cowering in my bathroom, overwhelmed by a genuine fear for my life. I might be questioning my own reaction, but the fear coursing through me feels all too real. Okay, come to the North Tower, room 3510. We'll be waiting for you. Wait, how do I... The line abruptly disconnects, leaving me with no other alternative. Looks like I have no choice. It takes me a bit to navigate through the connecting sky bridge, but I'm finally on the 35th floor. It would have probably taken faster if I wasn't checking over my shoulder every 5 seconds from paranoia. The layout of the hallway appears identical to the rest of the hotel. I walk down the familiar corridor until I reach the door labeled 3510 at the end. Standing before the door, I hesitate momentarily before deciding to knock. Just as my paw is about to make contact with the door, it swings open abruptly, catching me off guard. Come in. I glance down and see a small, well-groomed fox standing behind the door, motioning for me to enter. His accent matches the voice that I spoke to earlier, so it must be the same person. Cautiously, I look around the hallway, ensuring that I am not being followed before entering the room. A faint scent of bleach permeates the air, growing stronger as I make my way further into the room. I see Rao lounging on an expensive-looking sofa in the corner of the room. He seems focused with his phone, but turns to face me once I'm closer in. Is he the one that you were talking about? His gaze bounces between Javier and me. Yes. Show us your phone, we're curious. I take out my phone, but frown when I realize that it had died on me again. Is it dead? I return a small nod back. In that case... The fox walks over to a desk with a couple of briefcases laying next to it and pulls out a small, white, thin cable from one of them. He twists the small dial on the head of the cable and plugs it into my phone and pulls the other end to an outlet besides the desk. There. You're welcome. I look over at Rao, who seems to be staring at me attentively. How are you holding up? Barely. I nearly had a breakdown earlier back in my room. I had no idea who or why someone sent me that. I'm honestly scared. I thought about calling the police earlier, but then I remember what you told me. Rao nods back. Good call coming to us. There's not a whole lot that they can do. Or should I say, willing to do. Yeah. It's done. The fox interjects and hands back my phone to me. Here's your phone. I'll need you to unlock it and show us the text. I take back my phone skeptically and stare at the screen. 74%. Well, that was quick. Yes, now unlock your phone. Right. Following the fox's instructions, I unlock my phone and open my messaging app. I display the message with my image attachment to Javier, and a chill runs down my spine as I show it to him. It's creepy enough to make my fur stand on end. He takes my phone and walks over to Rao, sharing the image with him. There's your friend there, and... That's me over there. I raise an eyebrow, unable to see the screen, unsure of what Rao is referring to. I didn't see Rao earlier. So it is. Rao takes my phone from Javier and zooms into the screen and shows me. Whoever took this photo managed to get me in the frame as well. This is inconvenient. His tone comes across as more annoyed than worried. What about the other text? The address? It's the other message with no number. My voice is weak and trembling, the weight of the situation sinking in once again. The fox finds the message and scrutinizes my phone with focus. 10300 Iridescent Drive. Let me check where that is. Rao gets to his feet and looms over me, his gaze intense. You're not thinking of going, are you? I'm not sure. Should I? Definitely not. But what do you think that they'll do to me if I don't? Not sure. Could be just a bluff. But then again, it sounds like they're responsible for the attack. Although I am uncomfortable saying it, the truth is that I am absolutely terrified. Yeah. I'm almost certain that nothing's going to happen to you. But this looks like it could be a potential clue for... I found it. Looks like it's at the power plants at the edge of town. My stomach sinks and Javier takes notice of my sudden change in appearance. Don't worry, Theodore, was it? Rao and I will investigate this for you, so you can rest easy. We'll make sure that you're safe. And by that, I mean Rao will. We never agreed to this. We can't babysit him. He's a liability. No, he's an asset. This is the lead. I'll call Andrew later and let him know. You know what to do. Besides, look at him. He's a mess. Don't you have any compassion? Geez, thanks. The wolf heaves a deep and extended sigh. Fine. A massive weight suddenly disappears off my chest, but now I'm feeling really unsure of the entire situation. So, then what are we going to do now? The fox turns to me. Well, I need to get back to preparing for tomorrow. I'll be back later tonight with some stuff, Rao. He starts walking towards the door, but stops halfway, turning to look at me once more. Actually, do you mind if I take your phone to do some message tracing? I'll return it back later. Reluctantly, I hand over my phone, realizing that I don't have much choice in the matter. Yeah, sure. The fox pockets my phone and proceeds towards the exit. I'll keep you updated, Rao. The door closes swiftly, leaving Rao and I in an uncomfortable silence. After holding my gaze for a moment, he shifts his attention to the window, where he watches the gray clouds drift by. Not sure what to do, I sink down onto Rao's bed, my head hanging heavily as I stare at the ground. Hey, Rao? Struggling to speak above a whisper, my voice barely audible. He doesn't respond back, but I look over and see his ears twitch, so I decide to continue on. Hey, I'm sorry. A lot happened to me today, and I don't really know if I can... I just don't know what to... I choke over the last bit of my sentence, and tears start bellowing up. I lie back and stare at the ceiling, attempting to regain my composure. It's... fine. It's not your fault. We'll do our best to unravel this, and, most importantly, keep you safe. Summoning the last of my energy, I manage to utter a faint thank you. I shut my eyes, trying to think of something else to say. A prolonged silence ensues, and I try to open my eyes to see what Rao is doing, but my body refuses to obey. Rao says something to me, but I can barely make out what it is. I guess the exhaustion's getting the better of me. I'm worn out. Not too loud. Sleeping. Oops. Tomorrow will... Absolutely not. What if he... I can do it instead. God, it's late. It's dark. Where am I? I move my paws and feel a thin sheet covering me. Did I fall asleep in Rao's room? I slowly sit up on my bed, my body feeling stiff. I instinctively search my body for my phone, intent to check the time before recalling that I had given it to Javier. I shift my focus to my room, giving my eyes time to adjust to the lack of light. No one seems to be here. Rao? My voice is meek and groggy. There's no reply. Curiously, I nearly stumble out of bed and check the bathroom. But he's not there either. Where did he go? I return to the bedroom and decide to open the curtains. I can't see much besides the rain-drenched window, which obscures the cold glow of the ambient city lights glistening down below. What time is it? Walking over to the light switch, I flip it on, revealing an unaltered room, just as it was when I arrived earlier. Spotting the TV remote on the countertop, I pick it up and turn on the large flat-screen TV mounted in front of the bed. The TV turns on to a welcome screen for the hotel with the time boldly written in the corner. 11:45 p.m. Have I really been asleep for so long? Just then I hear a mechanical click followed by the sound of the door handle turning. I can't make it out at first, but I recognize the shape of their body as they make their way in. It's Rao. Hey. He spots me next to the TV and approaches me with a surprised look on his face. There is a brown bag in his paw that he extends out to me. How long have you been up? Not long at all. I just woke up and wanted to check the time. Right. Here, if you're hungry. He sets the bag on the top of the counter, water dripping from it as he does so. Thanks. Don't mention it. He suddenly takes off his shirt, the fabric sticking to him as he does. I wasn't expecting that. I knew that he was toned, but damn. God, I need a shower. This is what I get for leaving my jacket here. He chucks the wet shirt into the bathroom. Your phone's over there, by the way. Let me get it for you. He points to a small plastic container on the top of the desk next to his laptop. I watch as he enters a code in front of the container, opens the lid, and hands my phone back to me. We couldn't find out anything from the messages. Whoever sent those knew how to stay hidden. You can ask Javier tomorrow about the details if you want. He stops and looks at me more carefully. Speaking of which, we're going to scout out that address tomorrow morning and see how we can proceed from there. Javier and I both agree that this is some kind of trap, so it's best to go early. We need you to come along with us too. Me? But I don't know what... Relax, it's better to have you in our sights in case something goes wrong. We're not planning on doing anything crazy. Okay, I guess that makes sense. One more thing. As you probably already know, Cypress is scheduled for a late afternoon appearance tomorrow, so we'll need to get to the convention hall in an hour before their scheduled time. Why so early? I got the convention pass that lets us in. We need to see how they set it up. Meaning that we're going to be going backstage. Okay. Great, make yourself comfortable. The wolf sighs and shakes his head. I forgot to ask, did you want to head back to your room tonight? As per protocol, I can't force you, but I strongly recommend that you stay here for the night. Up to you. I sigh in relief and nod in agreement. No, you're right. I don't feel safe being alone in my room. Alright. Anything you want to get from your room? Not really. Well, I guess my laptop, but that's okay. I'd rather stay here and take things easy for tonight. Fair enough. Food's right there if you're hungry. I didn't know what you'd like, so I got a burger. Hope you like cheeseburgers. I'll be right back. He gestures to the bed and then to the bag on the counter. Ah. Something wrong? No, just... I'm sorry about earlier. I also fell asleep on your bed. You had a long day. It's understandable. With that, he walks off into the bathroom. I spend the next few minutes gazing across the cityscape with the burger in paw. The sound of the roaring water coming from Rao's shower helps to ease my mind as I eat. After several more minutes, I finish my food and decide to take a seat at the fancy sofa by the window, attempting to gather my thoughts for tomorrow. I close my eyes, trying to piece together the meaning of the attack, the text, and the photo. What's his reward? Hey. If you're tired, you can sleep on the bed. I can take the couch. What? I wasn't expecting him to be particularly nude. I thought that he'd at least put clothes on in the bathroom. Feeling flustered, I examined the fancy couch that I'm sitting on instead. He wants to sleep on this? I don't think that the armrests seemed comfortable for Rao to sleep on. Not with his stature. You're, sleeping like that? I mean, sleeping on this? Why did I just blurt that out? Yes, and yes. Does it bother you? I can put some clothes on if you'd like. It's fine. I was just curious. I need to come up with a reasonable excuse. Thought that you might be cold. Me? Never. My fur's thick and dense. It's the same as yours. Ah, right. I hear Rao pulling something out from the mini-fridge as I stare aimlessly at the couch I'm on. Moments go by before I decide to speak up once again. Say, I've been thinking about tomorrow. Lay it on me. It's nothing specific, I'm just trying to understand what all this could mean. You and me both. It'll be okay. You know that I used to be a bodyguard. Huh? Really? Yeah, it didn't last long though. Why not? I did my job too well. I may have gotten fired due to excessive force. Oh, well, what did you do? May or may not have thrown someone into a dumpster. I can't help but grin a bit with how silly that sounds. Point is, you'll be fine. Promise. He looks over to the now empty food bag and gives me a look. Now get up. You're in my spot. You can go clean up in the bathroom. I'm going to sleep. We got a long day tomorrow. Good night. Oh, good night. I switch places with Rao. He passes me the clean towel with his paw. I opt not to take a shower, instead deciding to take off my clothes and freshen up with the towel instead. I hope Rao doesn't mind. I set my clothes in the bathroom, wearing only my briefs. Stepping back into the room, my eyes adjust to the dark. I can make out this faint silhouette of Rao laying on the couch, his back facing towards me. He's completely motionless. Is he already asleep? I turn off the bathroom lights and quickly make my way to the bed. I hop in as quietly as possible, trying my best not to wake him up. Hey, one last thing. Did you know you sleep talk? Rao's deep voice echoes throughout the room. His question catches me off guard. Yeah, I used to as a kid. Oh no, was I earlier? You did, yes. What was I saying? Rao? Okay. I awkwardly settle into the bed and the mattress swallows me into its soft embrace. I close my eyes and try to sleep. Day 2. My eyes jolt open, startled by the sudden thud. Perfect timing. You're awake. I was just about to wake you up. We're heading out in 30 minutes. His voice, though muffled by the grogginess, guides my gaze towards him. Reluctantly, I manage to sit up, my eyelids heavy and vision blurry. The room is dimly lit, making it hard to pick out the details, but a shadowy shape on the bed catches my attention. A briefcase. Morning. What time is it? 5:40. How'd you sleep? I rub my eyes, squinting through the thin gap in the curtains. The lack of sunlight confirms the ungodly hour. Okay, I guess. As my eyes adjust, I stare at Rao. He's wearing some kind of overcoat. What's with the coat? Aren't you hot in that? I wear it when I'm out for investigations. It helps me stay hidden. Also, it's the same material as my jacket. He tugs at the collar on his shirt and fixes his tie. I'm only mildly warm, not the worst thing ever. I see. What about the tie? What about it? Don't you think that it's a bit over the top for an investigation? No. Enough with the questions. Go freshen up and get ready. We'll be leaving shortly. Thoughts from yesterday creep back into my mind, and I remember exactly what we're going to be doing. Tossing the blanket aside, I awkwardly try to get up, trying to suppress the morning wood that's become apparent now. I try my best to hide it from Rao, who's already distracted with packing. I merely nod in confirmation as I walk past him and stumble my way to the blindingly bright bathroom. It takes a bit for my eyes to adjust before I can find the sink. I turn on the tap and stare at myself in the mirror. I look like a mess. As I splash cold water on my face, I'm reminded of yesterday's events. My wallet, the assault, the cryptic message, and the embarrassing realization that I passed out here. Everything's going to be okay. Hopefully. I turn off the tap and I'm about to exit the bathroom when I see Rao standing outside waiting for me. With a briefcase in one paw and an umbrella in the other, he looks ready to depart. Are we leaving now? He nods. We'd better. Javier is waiting for us downstairs. As I pick up a towel to dry my paws, Rao speaks up again after a moment of pause. By the way, about yesterday. Who's Coulson? The sudden mention of the name catches me off guard. I haven't heard that name in years. Coulson? You were muttering their name last night. Did I? Crap. My face is flushed and I quickly look away, trying to act as nonchalant as possible. They're, a friend. My voice cracks just as I'm about to finish my sentence. Is that so? Well, it's none of my business. Just curious. His line of questioning reminds me of what he mentioned last night. Oh yeah, why'd you bring up sleep talking last night? It's actually related to this. You spoke another name yesterday when you passed out on the bed. Maxwell? Another one of your friends? I wince at the mention of that name, my head looking down at the ground to avoid eye contact. No, that was my father. Was? I see. He mutters something to himself before he speaks up once more. Well, just keep that in mind. You might unknowingly reveal something personal. You know what I mean? I nod back, and now I'm wondering if I've said something else last night. I didn't say anything revealing last night, did I? His chuckle is gentle, as if trying to lighten the mood. He waves a paw dismissively, then gestures towards the hotel room door. I'll be waiting for you in the hallway. The elevator ride down is surprisingly fast, given that it is still early in the morning. Rao is preoccupied with adjusting straps on the sleeves of his overcoat. He's even bulkier with the coat on. It seems so cumbersome. We arrive at the lobby, exit through a separate set of doors, and reach the hotel driveway. I follow Rao's lead as he points to a black sedan with heavy tinted windows situated on the opposite side of the parking lot. I wonder why my cab driver didn't pull up here yesterday. It's just around the corner from this street entrance. As we walk over, the driver's side window rolls down and the same fox from yesterday reveals himself. A fine morning to the gentleman. And Rao? Rao scoffs back, looking unimpressed. We're lucky. It doesn't seem to be raining. Yet. The wolf gets into the front passenger seat, leaving the back completely free for me. The fox takes out his phone and punches something in it before driving off. Give Theodore the rundown. Sure, let's see. Well, today's definitely interesting. First stop is Iridescent Drive. After that, we'll head back for Cyprus. And if time permits, we'll check out another site. I'll explain more of what we'll be doing when we get there. My attention bounces from Javier to Rao. The height difference between them is striking. Rao has to bend slightly forward to prevent his head from hitting the roof, while Javier's head is barely on the headrest. I stare out the side window, seeing the buildings slide by like a carousel as we speed down the deserted morning streets. So, Theodore, I tried to trace the origin of those messages, but came up short. Whoever sent them didn't want to be found. They knew what they were doing. My paws curl tighter around the edge of my seat. That being said, this could still be a bluff, and it may not be serious at all. Wait, how did you get into my messages? I don't remember giving you my passcode. Oh, I didn't need it. I'm not going to be able to read that. Clever. It's child's play, really. You lost me at multi-tool. He hacked into your phone, more or less. Hey! You're grossly oversimplifying the mechanisms at work here. Just drive. The fox mutters something under his breath, a grumble of discontent. Eventually the silence returns, and with it the feeling of unease starts to churn within. Hey, I brought some tortas if you guys are hungry. My stomach growls from the mention of food. He offers a bag from the center console over to Rao, who declines and then passes the bag over to me instead. I take the plastic bag and take a torta out and inspect it. It's a lot heavier than I thought. Tortas? It's kind of like a sandwich. You don't have any allergies, do you? These are somewhat spicy. No, I should be fine. Left. The car lurches to the side abruptly, causing me to drop the sandwich, staining my jacket. Ah, pendejo! Javier wrestles with the steering wheel, maneuvering the car around an intersection and swerving past a blurry figure. A resonating thump vibrates through the vehicle, violently shaking us in our seats. Fucking hell. I manage to fasten myself to my seat and regain balance as the car stabilizes and comes to a stop. What the hell just happened? Did we hit someone? Glancing behind, I see a figure sprawled on the street, with lengthy black skid marks trailing over the curb and sidewalk to where we are now. No. I swerved around them at the last second, luckily. They're getting back up. They'll be fine. The fox examines his side view mirror and nods. Yeah, let's not waste any more time. What? We're just gonna leave? Are we all good? I'm fine, I guess. Me too. Then we're leaving. Isn't this a miss and run, though? Not when they jumped out from the sidewalk. They were either on something, or that was the saddest attempt at insurance fraud that I've seen in my life. We can check the dashcam later. My heart's racing from the near collision. How can they be so calm about this? Shit, the engine light is on. Must have shaken something loose in the hood. Might be a sensor. Fuck, I didn't get insurance for this rental. Can you help me check it out when we stop? Please? Fine. The rest of the car ride is much calmer in comparison. Even after attempting to clean it, my jacket carries a lingering scent of chili peppers and onions, prompted me to remove it. Javier's driving much slower with the caution now, and Rao keeps glancing over his shoulder as if we're being followed. Despite the relative quietness, my nerves are anything but settled. I look down at my phone to check the time. It's almost 6:30. We've been on the road for over 30 minutes now. How much farther do we have to go? My question goes unanswered, swallowed by the silence in the car. Looking outside, I realize that we're in an industrial area with warehouses and factories stretching as far as the eye can see. The city skyline is quite distant now, but I can still distinguish the silhouette of the Grand Marine, at least I think. Actually, we're here. We'll park down the street and walk the rest of the way. We pull over to the next sprawling factory that looks abandoned, with a rusted fence surrounding the perimeter. Where the hell are we? How did we get to a place like this when we were just in the city minutes ago? Rouse stretches, yawning as he does so. Next time, get a bigger car. Yeah. Speaking of which, could you check the hood? I'll start making my way over. He waves a device in his paw, gesturing Rao towards the hood, then turns to walk down the street. All right. What about me? Rao motions towards Javier, who's already some distance away. This won't take long. I'll catch up. Okay. I start jogging to catch up with Javier, but he turns and raises a paw, signaling for me to slow down. Try to be more discreet, please. I ease my sprint into a steady walk, gradually catching up to him. For a man his size, Javier certainly moves quickly. Or maybe it's just me who's slow. Silence envelops us as we stroll down the dimly lit road, the fox's gaze ahead unwavering. Eventually we come to a halt before a towering, rusted gate. Beyond it, an imposing power plant looms, flanked by a large warehouse. To be continued. Rain check. So, I suppose it has gotten better now that we're actually getting into some mystery. I won't hide that I am frustrated with the main character because he comes off as the dumbest person that I've ever had to read. Or the dumbest main character. But in the sense that it's sort of like he's lacking common sense, I guess. But or he comes off as a very young person who has lived a sheltered life. The reason I say this is not as a criticism of the story, no. Like, the story's getting better now. So I am invested in the mystery. The reason I say it, though, is because he kind of seems like the type of person that in a horror movie would get himself killed at the beginning. He would be like the first person to die. I guess that's what I'm saying. He just is lacking a little bit of common sense. But yeah. Other than that, I guess there's not much to say, really. I mean, we are finally, I suppose, I'm hoping, getting into the mystery, or at least getting a taste of what is happening in the story. I guess it's gonna be one of those stories in which the protagonist is thrust into what is happening. Whether that is a good thing or a bad thing has yet to be seen, because he's kind of dumb. I mean, I guess it's supposed to be like a civilian being involved in a mystery and then, you know, having to do something. I don't know. I don't know what he's gonna provide to the story. That's the thing. Interesting that Rao and this Javier person are, I guess, private investigators, or at least that's what they're saying. That's kind of the vibe that I was getting from Rao, though, from the beginning, from when I first read it, that he was either looking for someone or investigating something on his own or something, I don't know. But it does make sense that he is a private investigator now. Well, I guess there really isn't anything more to say. I guess the mystery of who took the picture and how they know that Theodore or Theo. I want to shorten it to Theo. I don't like saying Theodore. It sounds like he's a teddy bear or like a really old man. So Theo. I wonder how this other person knows that the tiger, this little dork here, knows Rao, or at least has a passing encounter with Rao. And I'm wondering if what happened here wasn't so much that they were taking a picture of Theo fighting the crackhead, but they were actually trying to take a picture of Rao. And he just happened to get a picture of this dork here, and they mistook Dorcas's phone number for being Rao's. So in reality, they're looking for Rao and not Theo. Theodork. I'm gonna call him Theodork. But yeah. I keep staring at his little thing in his forehead, because I know like tigers usually have like a pattern on the forehead, or like at least tiger personas, and all I think about is a Black Widow. But yeah, anyways. So, am I invested? I am at least a little bit more intrigued. Am I convinced that the story is good? I'm more convinced than I was when I first read the first build. Am I gonna be like jumping head over heels in order to get more updates? Probably not. I'm just gonna wait for the publics. I'm not gonna say that I don't want to subscribe to their Patreon or whatever. I'm just, you know, I'm gonna keep an eye on it, I guess, is what I'm saying. I do know that George works on it. I do know that RadCanine is the one that's basically doing all of this. Obviously, he does have help from a lot of people, like Orion, too. Good old Orion. Always there to help a visual novel in need. I actually do have an idea for a visual novel. Maybe I might ask him for help in the future. Not right now. I have way too many things going on, and you're gonna see a whole bunch of videos that have been pre-recorded like a month in advance, and I'm trying to get like all of July ready. So you'll either see this on Friday of... Is today Thursday or Wednesday? Today's Wednesday, so you'll either see this on the 30th of June, or you might see it in July. It depends. And what's coming... No, whatever. Never mind. Ignore me. But yeah, so... Yeah. Anywho, so, you know, comments, write down in the description what you think, and, you know, we can discuss it. If you guys like the story so far, or if you have questions about it, or if there's, like, little things nagging at you, too. Like, for me, you know, just like, I'm not quite convinced with the story yet, but I do like where it's going. Or I do like the fact that it's going somewhere. Or if you have already read the revisions that were made for the first portion of the story, where this little dork here arrives at the hotel. I'm gonna keep calling him Dork, because just look at that face. I want to punch him. I'm sorry, but I just want to punch him. Yeah, what was I saying? You know, write it in the comments if you read the revisions, and if things changed, if it like is more cohesive, I guess. Because I think that was one of my issues, where, like I said, pacing, but like there was a lot of like fluff that we didn't need. I think was one of my issues. It's like, why do I care about these things? Certain little things are not making sense too. Like yeah, you know. Again, developer, or George, if you happen upon this, because you know the developer very well, or Orion too. I'm not bashing on it, no. I guess that I've been reading so much lately that you kind of tend to notice certain things about visual novels now, I guess. And it's hard. It's not hard. I should not expect the same quality from different people. And this is like a first time for RadCanine to be writing a visual novel, so I'm not going to expect the quality of something else from him. And I am intrigued, and I do want to stay for the mystery aspect. So as long as the mystery and things like that are front and center, I will read it. I will be intrigued. If it suddenly turns into a romance visual novel, then I'm probably going to lose interest. So yeah, I guess that's what I'm trying to say. Anyways, enough talking, rambling. So yeah, comments, and thank you all for watching / listening. If you would like to play Rain Check yourself, you can do so by going down into the link in the description for... Did they have a Twitter page or something? I think they have an official Rain Check VN Twitter page, which I will link down to, which should link you to the HIO page, and if not, then it'll just be RadCanine's. And if they have a Patreon, which I think they do, I will also link that down in the description so that you can, you know, support the project if you like Rain Check. I don't know what it offers. More than likely, early builds of Rain Check, you know, so you can be a little bit ahead of the curve for the people that are just waiting for the public, like me. So yeah, you know, do that. And I guess that's it for now, and I'll see you guys in the next videos. Bye-bye.